This video is sponsored by Squarespace. From websites and online stores to marketing tools and analytics, build your online presence with Squarespace.
Hey everyone, Ace of Clay here, and welcome to another video. If you're new to my channel, I'm a sculptor, and every week I make a new sculpture. In today's video, I'm making Eyeless Jack. Eyeless Jack is a man-eating enigmatic serial killer with a craving for human organs. He wears a black hoodie and dark jeans along with a deep blue mask and has two black holes for eyes. And yes, Jack is another highly requested creepypasta character. I have also made Slender Man, Jeff the Killer, The Rake, and Laughing Jack, so if you're a fan of creepypastas, be sure to check out those videos after this one. And then before we get started, if you want more content from me outside of YouTube, be sure to check me out on Instagram and Twitter. I'm at Ace of Clay, and I'd love to see you there. And without further ado, here's Eyeless Jack. Alright, let's get started. For the first step, I drilled the holes into this plaque here, and I'm inserting my armature wire into those and sort of just shaping out his legs and torso, meeting the torso at the middle right there, and then I'm going to secure it with some floral wire. And then I'm going to attach the arms as another piece of wire with some more floral wire. And as always, all of the materials and tools that I use in this video are listed in the description box below, along with my affiliate links if you want to purchase anything. Now I'm just bulking out the torso with some Super Sculpey Ultralight. I'm using this in place of foil just because I like it better, it gives me more control, and I like the way that my final layer of clay adheres to it. Now after adding that skewer for the neck, it's time to bake this, and then once it's baked and completely cooled down, let's add our final layer of clay like I just mentioned. I'm going to start with the legs this time. Using a snake of clay, I'm going to press it onto my armature wire, and then shape out the leg. And once I've got my clay on the legs, I'm going to go ahead and add this sheet of clay over that Sculpey Ultralight. And I got this nice even sheet by rolling it through my pasta maker on the thickest setting. Now once everything is covered in clay, I'm going to go ahead and add the final shape to each area of the body that I'm working on right now. For example, I'm going to add a little more of a taper to each leg, and then we're going to go in with the detail, which is of course a bunch of snakes of clay to create some folds and wrinkles. Let's make his jeans. Alright, now while I'm working out his details, let's talk a little bit more about the original story of Eyeless Jack, and this is according to creepypastafiles.fandom.com. In the original story, a man named Mitch moves in with his brother Edwin after his house is foreclosed. A week later, Mitch wakes up with a large gash on his cheek. After going to the hospital, the doctor reveals that Mitch's left kidney had been surgically removed overnight. Around midnight that night, Mitch wakes to see Eyeless Jack over his bed, wearing a blue mask with black liquid dripping from empty eye sockets behind the mask. Mitch manages to grab his camera and take a picture before Jack attacks, clawing at his chest. Mitch escapes and flees into the woods, where he trips and is knocked unconscious. When Mitch awakens in the hospital, it is revealed to him that Edwin had been killed the previous night. His parents drive him to the house to collect his belongings. When he enters, Mitch sees Edwin's corpse and a small object lying next to it. He observes it to find that it's his kidney with a bite taken out of it, covered in a black substance. Well, that was pretty dark. Alright, now here I'm just adding some details to the bottom of his hoodie, and this guy is very, very similar to my Jeff the Killer sculpture, so I'm trying not to make it exactly like that because Jeff the Killer is also in jeans and a hoodie, and I want to make them as different as possible while still staying true to the character. So we're just going to try our best with that, and then here I am just making his shoes. Now here's another piece of information that I found interesting on that website again. As far as his powers and abilities go, he is not that powerful, but he is incredibly stealthy and seems to possess some degree of anatomical knowledge and has a thorough understanding of the human body, use of surgical instruments, and removing vital organs, showing he is very intelligent. So this is how he, I guess, extracts the organs from people's bodies. He's very careful about it. He doesn't just, do it like a zombie. His actions are very intentional. Okay, now back to sculpting. As you can see there, his torso, legs, shoes, and neck are complete and pre-baked, and now I'm just going in and finishing his arms. And I want to make these a little longer than they're supposed to be, just to make it a little creepier looking, make it a little more exaggerated. You know, I like exaggerated things, and you can probably tell just by looking at my channel. I don't think I've made very many anatomically correct pieces, and I like it that way. It's my style. Alright, now in a couple pictures that I've seen of this guy online, he's holding a knife, so we're going to go ahead and sculpt that and pre-bake that right now. I'm just cutting it out of this little piece of clay, and then I'm going to bring out the handle a little bit, and then, like I said, pre-bake it and stick it in his hand later on. Alright, he's looking pretty good. So far, so good. Alright, now while his knife is baking, let's go ahead and make his hands. Right, then finishing his other hand off camera, we're going to go ahead and attach it by poking that hole, adding some bacon bond, and sliding it onto that armature wire, and then capping off the sleeve with a flattened snake of clay, and blending one edge in with the rest of his arm. And now that his hands are done, we're going to go ahead and start his head. His head is extremely simple. It's just this nice little egg shape that I sculpted over a piece of foil. Added that skewer to hold on to while I'm working. We're adding the eye sockets with my large ball stylus, shaping those out, making sure everything's nice and smooth, and then going to add a little lump of clay to create a little bit of a protruding nose. Now for this guy, I want to stay as true as possible to that original image of him, so I'm going to give him a very tightly fitting hood. And because the hood is going to be on tight, I don't need to make the edges of his mask or anything. It's just going to be completely concealed by that hood. And after I attach his head here with some bacon bond, of course, I'm going to go ahead and start that hood with a nice little sheet of clay from my pasta maker. That's looking pretty good. Just going to mark where I want to trim this. Let's go ahead and trim it and then stick it back on and start forming it to his head. And in the back, I just want to gather that excess clay and create a little point. Now I want to fill in any like holes or areas that I don't like with some more clay, just so it's nice and smooth like everything else. Alright, now while I'm finishing up this guy, I want to know, who is your favorite creepypasta character? Let me know in the comments if you're still watching. And now for the final step, we're going to finish off his other arm with his other hand, give him his knife, and then cap off that sleeve and get him ready for his final bake. And then of course we're going to brush the entire surface with clay softener to remove fingerprints and then get him in the oven. And once he's baked and completely cooled down, it's time for paint. All of the paints that I use in this video are FolkArt brand matte acrylics. I'm just going to start with his mask and then go in with some pure black everywhere else. It's a very simple paint job. Now I'm going to go in with a fine paintbrush and paint those eye sockets. sockets are done, we're going to do that nice drippy black liquid. I have a very watered down black paint that I'm just sort of letting drip down its face naturally. And now we're going to paint that knife this nice bright platinum color. And then we're going to dry brush some dark gray over the entire surface just to give him a little bit more dimension. Add some blood, of course. And paint the base. And he's done! Eyeless Jack is complete. Let me know what you think of this guy in the comments and which creepypasta character, or character in general, you think I should make next. And that's a wrap. I really hope you like my version of Eyeless Jack. Thank you so much for requesting him. He was a very simple sculpt, but if you're looking to get started with polymer clay and you kind of don't know where to start, I think this is a great jumping off point because there's so many things you can learn from this and it's not super complicated. Let me know what you guys think of this guy in the comments, and of course, thank you so much for watching and being here. But before we close out, let's talk about our sponsor, Squarespace. Whether you're just getting started or you're an established brand, the Squarespace commerce platform supports the way you do business. Whether you're looking to sell products directly or even bill for your services, they've got you covered. For me personally, I love Squarespace for their portfolios. I'm constantly updating my website with more photos of my work, and I love how customizable the galleries are. And I also want to mention their amazing email support team that is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They're an actual team in an office, and they'll typically respond to your questions within an hour. So with all that said, if all that sounds good to you, head on over to squarespace.com to start your free trial, and then when you're ready to launch your website, go to squarespace.com/aceofclay to save 10% on your first purchase. And as always, thank you so much for watching and being here. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and then follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at aceofclay. I'm also on TikTok. Check me out there, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.